Hi friends, my name is Matt. I'm the youth and family pastor at Cornerstone Church in Marshfield. Glad you're with me today. We're here on the Cornerstone Connection, a daily devotional. And today, we're going to continue our way through 2 Samuel. Now, if you've been joining us in the Bible reading plan that we're going through here at Cornerstone, you know the drama is amping up in David's story and David's family in particular. In fact, if you know anything about David's story, it's quite unfortunate. He had great favor upon him from God, and for good reason. He loved God with all of his heart. And yet, there was decisions that David made in taking more than one wife, to have several wives, to have concubines, and things like this. And it ended up having major negative consequences. And so now the drama is increasing in his family. If you've been with us in the past couple of days, you know that there's this issue where there was this guy, one of his sons named Amnon, one of his daughters named Tamar, and Amnon treats Tamar in a very, very disrespectful way. You can read about that going back to chapter 13. And then Amnon's one of his half brothers, Absalom, another one of David's sons, hears about this and takes Tamar into his home to take care of his sister, and then he ends up killing Amnon. And of course, David's upset about this, that one of his sons has killed another one of his sons. And so he wants Absalom to come to Jerusalem eventually, and Absalom comes to Jerusalem, but David will not see him because he is so upset. And of course, then Absalom's bitterness increases against his father. And so there's all these layers that cause this great drama in the house of David. And there's a really fantastic lesson that we're going to learn today, probably a reminder for most of us, but one that I know I need to be reminded of every so often as I continue walking with Jesus through this world where sin continues, where brokenness continues, and where just like David's family can become dysfunctional, all of our families can become dysfunctional. So there's something really important that we got to put into practice. And we're going to see it here today as we jump into 2 Samuel 15. So look, here we are. Absalom is bitter towards his dad, David, and we're going to see this play out. I'm going to read for you quite a bit here from chapter 15. Listen to what it says, starting in verse 1. In the course of time, Absalom provided himself with a chariot and horses and with 50 men to run ahead of him. He would get up early, and he would stand by the side of the road leading to the city gate. Whenever anyone came with a complaint to be placed before the king for a decision, Absalom would call out to him. "What town are you from?" He would answer, "Your servant is from one of the tribes of Israel." Then Absalom would say to him, "Look, your claims are valid and proper, but there is no representative of the king to hear you." And Absalom would add, "If only I were appointed judge in the land, then everyone who has a complaint or case would come to me, and I would see that he gets justice." Also, whenever anyone approached him, that's Absalom, to bow down before him, Absalom would reach out his hand, he'd take hold of him, and he would kiss him. Absalom behaved in this way toward all the Israelites who came to the king asking for justice. And so here it is. Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. At the end of 4 years, Absalom said to the king, "Let me go to the Hebron and fulfill a vow I made to the Lord. While your servant was living at Geshur in Aram, I made this vow. If the Lord takes me back to Jerusalem, I will worship the Lord in Hebron." The king said to him, "Go in peace." So he went to Hebron, although it wouldn't be in peace. Verse 10, then Absalom sent secret messengers throughout the tribes of Israel to say, "As soon as you hear the sound of the trumpets, then say, 'Absalom is king of Hebron.'" 200 men from Jerusalem had accompanied Absalom. They had been invited as guests and went quite innocently, knowing nothing about the matter. While Absalom was offering sacrifices, he also sent for Ahithophel the Gilonite, David's counselor, to come from Gilo, his hometown. And so the conspiracy of Absalom gained strength, and Absalom's following kept on increasing. And as you continue to read through chapter 15, you're going to see what this all leads to in this great conflict between David and his own son Absalom. But here's the big lesson that we all need to take away from today. It was back in verse 6. And so he stole the hearts of the men of Israel. You know, if we aren't careful, if we are unguarded, our hearts can be stolen by a person, by a movement, could be stolen by some sinful thought. Our hearts can be stolen. And it's why King Solomon would write in the book of Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23, above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. Friends, the message today is this: be on guard. So many back in that day with Absalom were not on guard, and so they were convinced to follow him. They were convinced to be with him in the conspiracy and to go up against David, the one who was anointed by God to lead the people of Israel. And it would cause all kinds of turmoil and fractures in the kingdom of Israel and in David's family. It was terrible. And therefore, it is so important that we be on guard, that we guard our hearts. There was parts of David's heart that weren't guarded that eventually led to all of this mess. And if we look at our own lives, when we see where mess has happened, there's a very good chance that somewhere along the lines there was an unguarded heart. And so may we take the words from Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. Have a great day, friends. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.